Welcome to English Fluent Ears, your place for slow, easy, and relaxing English listening practice. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Mia, and a big hello to our listeners. Today's episode feels different. It feels very calm and thoughtful.
It is, Leo. Today, we are not just teaching vocabulary or grammar. We are sharing a gentle story about life, change, courage, and personal growth. It's a story about a man named Tom and his journey to find himself.
I love that idea. So our listeners can just relax and follow along with the story?
Exactly. The language is slow, clear, and simple. Perfect for beginner and intermediate learners. You can listen many times. This is not a grammar lesson, it's a story. And stories are one of the best ways to train your ears, your mouth, and your brain to think in English naturally.
I agree completely. Stories help us understand real sentences and real feelings. If you enjoy this story, please remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. It really helps us.
It does. So, find a quiet place, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey with Tom together. Our story begins with a man named Tom. He is 30 years old and lives in a small town near the sea. Every morning, he wakes up early. He opens his window and lets the fresh air come in. He loves mornings. They feel like a new beginning.
That sounds so peaceful. A cup of tea by the window, watching the sunrise.
It is. But for many years, Tom felt like he was living the same day every day. Going to work, coming home, eating dinner, sleeping, and then repeating it all again. It was not a bad life, but it was not exciting.
He felt stuck, like he was not growing or changing.
Exactly. He felt like a small boat, always moving in circles and never exploring the open sea. So, he made a small promise to himself. He wrote in a notebook, "From today, I will try one new thing every week."
One new thing every week? That's a simple but powerful promise. He didn't care if he succeeded or failed. What mattered was that he would try.
Right. He understood that growth does not happen in one day. It is built slowly, with small steps.
So, what was his first new thing?
For the first week, he chose something simple: walking to work instead of taking the bus. The first morning, the air was cool and fresh. The streets were quiet.
And when you walk, you notice things you never see on a bus.
He did. He noticed a small bakery and the smell of warm bread. He saw a cat sleeping under a bench. He saw a father holding his little daughter's hand. These were small, ordinary moments, but they felt special because he was present. He wasn't rushing or checking his phone.
He was just walking and seeing the world. He realized there were beautiful things around him every day. He just never looked closely enough before.
At first, the walk was not easy. His legs felt tired. He wanted to stop, but he remembered his promise and kept walking. With every step, he felt a little stronger.
This is how change begins. One small step at a time.
When Tom reached his office, he felt awake and alive. So he decided to do a second new thing that day. He decided to talk to his colleague, Anna.
Oh, that can be scary. Talking to someone new.
It can be. He often saw her in the lunchroom reading interesting books. He always wanted to speak with her, but was too shy. He worried she might not want to talk.
But today, he was different. He was trying new things.
So, he smiled, walked over and said, "Hi, Anna. That book looks interesting. What is it about?" And she smiled back. They started talking about books and travel and food. The conversation felt natural.
And he realized something important, didn't he?
He did. He realized that most of his fears were only in his head. They were like shadows. They looked big and scary, but when he faced them, they disappeared.
So, Tom continued his journey, taking small steps. What happened next?
One evening, he walked home by the sea. The sun was setting and the waves were gentle. He saw an old man sitting alone on a wooden bench. The man's eyes were bright and calm.
So Tom, being his new self, decided to talk to him?
Exactly. He sat down and they started talking. The old man's name was Samuel. He said the sea was his oldest friend. He pointed to the waves and said, "Sometimes they are calm, and sometimes they are strong, but they always keep moving. Life is the same."
That is beautiful wisdom.
Then Samuel said something Tom would never forget. We grow when we listen. Most people talk too much and listen too little. But if you truly listen, life will show you the way.
Wow. So, the lesson was not about doing, but about listening.
Yes. Tom realized that he was always trying to control everything in his life. But maybe growth is also about trusting the process. That night, he wrote in his notebook, "Today, I learned to listen."
So, how did Tom practice this idea of courage and trying new things?
2 weeks later, he decided to try something that really scared him: public speaking. At a small team meeting at work, he raised his hand and offered to share an idea.
His heart must have been beating so fast.
It was! His hands were shaking. But he remembered his promise. He stood up and spoke. And when he finished, his manager smiled and said, "That's a great idea, Tom."
He must have felt so proud. Not because the idea was perfect, but because he had the courage to speak.
Exactly. But not everything he tried went so well. 1 month into his promise, he decided to take a painting class. He thought he would be good at it.
And was he?
No! His first painting was a mess. The colors were strange, the shapes were not clear. He felt disappointed and wanted to quit.
But he remembered his promise was not to succeed, but to try.
Right. So he kept painting. His paintings were still not very good, but they started to make him smile. He learned that failure is not the opposite of growth. It is part of growth. Every mistake is a teacher.
This journey sounds difficult. It must have been frustrating at times.
It was. Tom was often too hard on himself. He expected to change too quickly. One evening, he looked in the mirror and felt frustrated. Then he remembered what Samuel said about flowers.
What did he say?
He said, "You should not shout at a flower and tell it to grow faster. You should give it water, sunlight, and time." Tom realized he must do the same for himself. Growth needs patience and kindness.
So he learned to be kind to himself.
Yes. He wrote a letter to himself, forgiving himself for his mistakes and promising to be patient. The next morning, he felt lighter. He learned that being kind to yourself is not weakness. It is strength.
It's interesting how this journey started as a personal one for Tom. Did that change?
It did. He learned that sharing the journey makes it richer. One weekend, he decided to volunteer at a local community center to clean a park and plant flowers.
So he started connecting with other people.
Yes. He met people of all ages. One woman told him that volunteering helped her find friends and a purpose when she was lonely. Her words stayed with him. He realized that we are all searching for connection.
So growth is not just about improving yourself, but also about being part of a community.
Exactly. At the end of the day, his hands were dirty and his back hurt, but his heart felt full. He wrote in his notebook, "Growth is not a solo journey. It is something we build together." Sometimes, Leo, growth is about adding new things, but sometimes it's about letting go of old things.
What do you mean by that?
One day, Tom found an old notebook from 5 years ago. It was full of plans he never completed and dreams that were no longer important to him. At first, he felt sad, like a failure.
But he is not the same person he was 5 years ago.
He realized that. He realized it is okay to change and outgrow old dreams. So, he decided to throw away the old notebook. Not because it was meaningless, but because he was ready to write a new story.
Letting go makes space for something new.
That's right. He wrote, "I let go today. I let go of old dreams, old fears, and old expectations. And now I am ready for what comes next."
This journey is so deep, Mia. It's about more than just trying new hobbies.
It is. 3 months after he started, Tom learned one of his most important lessons: the power of silence. He decided to spend a whole Sunday alone. No phone, no internet, no plans.
That must have been difficult in our busy world.
At first it was. He felt restless. But after a while, the noise in his head, the worries, the doubts, the plans, started to fade. In the quiet, he sat by the window and watched the clouds. He listened to his own breathing.
And in that silence, he started to understand himself more deeply.
Yes, he thought about what truly mattered to him in his own heart. He wrote in his notebook, "Silence is not empty. It is full of answers."
So, Tom learned to be brave, to listen, to be kind to himself, and to find peace in silence. What a transformation!
But growth is not always fast or exciting. Sometimes it's slow and invisible. He learned this when he started running. At first, he could only run for 5 minutes. He wanted quick results, but his body said no.
It's easy to feel frustrated when you don't see improvement right away.
It is. But he kept going. 5 minutes became 10. 10 minutes became 20. Slowly, week by week, he built his strength. 3 months later, he ran for an entire hour.
Wow! It wasn't magic. It was patience. It was small steps, repeated again and again.
He realized this lesson is about all of life. Confidence, kindness, and wisdom all grow slowly. If we keep going, we will see the results. As Tom continued on his journey, he realized something else. His life wasn't perfect, but there was so much to be thankful for.
That's a beautiful realization. To be grateful for what you have.
So he started a new habit. Every night, he would write down 3 things he was grateful for. Grateful means thankful. At first, his list was simple. I am grateful for the sunshine today. I am grateful for a good conversation with Anna.
But over time, his feeling of gratitude probably became deeper.
It did. He started to appreciate the small, wonderful things in his life. This habit of gratitude made him feel happier and more content.
Tom's journey of personal growth is so inspiring. Did he start to share what he learned with others?
He did. At the community center, a young boy named Leo joined the volunteer group. He was shy and quiet and reminded Tom of his old self.
Wait, the boy's name was Leo? Like me.
Yes, just like you. Tom sat with him and started a conversation. He told the young boy about his own fears and how he faced them, step by step. Week by week, Tom saw the boy's confidence grow.
That's amazing. Watching him change must have taught Tom something powerful.
It taught him that when we grow, we create space for others to grow too. Our courage can inspire someone else's courage. He wrote in his notebook, "Growth multiplies when shared." The more I give, the more I grow.
So, after all these months, all these lessons, how did Tom feel?
Many months had passed. The seasons had changed from spring to autumn. The air was different, and the leaves had turned gold and red. Tom walked through the park and watched the trees let go of their leaves. He knew now that this was not an ending, but part of a cycle.
And he realized that he too had changed. The person walking through the park was not the same person who once felt stuck and afraid.
He was calmer. He was braver. He understood himself more deeply, and he was learning to trust life. Growth is not always visible. It is often quiet and slow. But when you look back, you can see how far you have come.
That is such a beautiful and inspiring story, Mia. It shows that change is not something to fear. It is a sign that we are alive.
Exactly. And that brings us to our practice tip for today. For all our listeners, we want to remind you of something important. Growth is not about being perfect. It is about trying, step by step, day by day.
Some days, you will feel strong. Other days, you will feel lost. Both are part of the journey. Don't rush it. Don't compare yourself to others. Trust your own pace.
Celebrate your small victories. Learn from your mistakes. And never, ever stop walking on your own path of growth.
That was a wonderful lesson, Mia. Thank you for sharing that story. And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us today on English Fluent Ears.
Yes, thank you. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next one.
And we would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and tell us one small step you will take on your own journey of growth this week. Until next time, keep practicing.
And have a wonderful day. Bye for now, everyone.
Goodbye.